In this video, we will try to load Flux-Cored wire in a Sentry FC-90 welder made by Lincoln Electric. I do not have skills in welding, but I purchased this welder to try to learn. Since I'm new to welding, I wanted to start by making sure the power is off. The plastic cap was removed from the end of the welding cable. An adjustable wrench was used to loosen the metal tip. The metal tip was unscrewed to make it easier for the wire to pass through. The spool cover was opened. The spool lock, spring, and spool spacer were removed from the spindle. The Sentry FC-90 welder uses a 0.035 inch or 0.9 mm Flux-Cored wire. Once the packaging for the spool is open, the end of the wire which was bent was cut. A hole was punched through the label so the spool could be set on the spindle. The spring-loaded thumb screw was released and the idle roll arm was opened. The wire spool was placed on top of the spindle. The spool spacer, spring, and spool lock were reinstalled on the top of the spool to help hold it. As seen, I'm using my hand to also help hold down the spool and keep the wire from unwinding. While holding the spool with my hand, the wire was passed through the guide tube. The wire was then set alongside the drive roll into the liner tube at the start of the welding cable. Once the wire was inside the liner tube, I fed as much as possible by hand while holding the wire spool. The idle roll arm was closed and the spring-loaded thumb screw was set back into place. Before the power was turned on, I checked the location of the grounding cable and the ground clamp. At this time, the ground cable must be in a location that will not complete an electrical circuit to the tip of the wire, the welder, or myself. The power to the welder was turned on. I used the trigger to feed the wire. I have bent the welding cable so the tip may be seen with the spool in this frame. Keep in mind it is better to keep the welding cable as straight as possible. I held down the wire spool with my hand to provide a little bit of tension and again tried to prevent the wire from unwinding. Now you've heard about me holding down the spool multiple times because it was the biggest challenge of loading wire into this machine. Once the cable passes beyond the tip, the process is almost complete. The power to the welder is again turned off. The metal tip to the welding cable is screwed on by hand. The metal tip is then tightened with the hand tool. The plastic cap is placed over the metal tip and screwed on by hand. The tip of the wire is cut to about 0.5 inches or 12.7 millimeters. Keep in mind that the wire is specified to work at a range. This range is 0.375 to 0.625 inches. This range can also be measured at 9.525 to 15.87 millimeters. The spool cover was closed and the process complete. Thank you for watching.